What if I told you it was possible to teach empathy? I'm a professor of political science and public policy at Duke, and among other things, I run Duke's program in American Grand Strategy. The Grand Strategy program is a high-touch co-curricular program that combines courses and active learning outside of the classroom with visiting speakers and field trips to military bases and battlefields to learn from history. What were the mistakes they made? Can I learn from those mistakes? What were the patterns that show up that I need to be alert to? History teaches you to ask the right questions about the present moment. Psychologists distinguish between cognitive empathy, understanding, standing in the shoes of the other, emotional empathy, feeling what that other person is feeling, and sympathy, which is, I'm thinking what you're feeling is right, and I want to nurture you in that feeling. You can have cognitive empathy without having sympathy. Understanding what motivated Hitler is important, but it does not make you sympathetic to his evil designs. And so my little corner of the world is training firefighters who identify dangerous spots and are trying to reduce that danger. I love the students. They arrive 18 years old, probably thinking they couldn't possibly grow anymore, but they have a lot of growing to do. And if they're willing to invest the time, they can hear a very wide range of perspectives, including many that they will come out of the room saying, that guy's wrong. But now I understand a little bit more why they think that way. Being able to stand in the shoes of others is a core value for the American Grand Strategy program. You got to be able to understand the argument of what American foreign policy should be through the eyes of the policymaker who was doing the opposite of what you're recommending. In 2016, a couple weeks before the election, we arranged this thing, which we've done now every 4 years in presidential years. And so this is a picture of Karl Rove, political advisor to President Bush, Jim Messina, Obama's political advisor, and this is me, the referee in the middle. And of course, they're arguing over the policies, they're arguing over the politics, and they're arguing over who they think is going to win and why. But if you see this, there's a lot of smiles there. They disagree, but they've found ways of disagreeing without being disagreeable. They were able to talk reasonably in a way that was informative and that the audience really enjoyed. That is teaching the core value of empathy, of standing in the shoes of the other. I promise you that if you were a Democrat coming, you heard Karl Rove, you said, okay, I can see why Republicans think the way they did. And if you were a Republican in the audience and you heard a thoughtful voice like Jim Messina, you say, okay, I see it. I get now why someone might vote that way. That's an important step forward in education, and we do that every week. We're trying to make sure that you do not graduate from Duke without ever having talked to someone who worked for the opposing party and who implemented the policies that you think may have been a mistake and that you want to change. You learn so much when you talk to somebody who disagrees with you, but you do so civilly, and you come to realize they're human beings too, that in most cases they are trying to do what they think is the best. And that complicates the picture. It'd be so much easier if one side had all the wisdom and the other side were all fools and wicked folks. It's just not that way. It also, frankly, requires building friendships across difference. I've seen it most effective when students could say, I disagree with you, but I love disagreeing with you. You're wrong, but I love you. If you can get to that level, then there's an opportunity to genuinely learn from the other person. It doesn't mean that the truth is always in the mushy middle. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes people are genuinely wrong. But there is the possibility that we each might be wrong about something, and we should be humble enough to hear that from someone else.